Welcome to the show, Local. So good to see you, or otherwise known as the Local Brick Shop. How are you doing?
It's great to be here, and I am doing just fine, thanks. Who are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. No one asks how Amor's doing, so I'm glad
What's
that
so
you
sad?
did. I'm I'm doing really great. Uh, in fact, I just realized this was like episode 10. So, uh, thank you for being here with me on this milestone, Local. I really appreciate it.
Hey, first double-digit number, I'll take
There you go.
it.
Yeah, we're in double digits now. We made it. Uh,
You're a pro now, that's why.
yeah, I mean, I'm a professional podcaster. So the local brick shop. Uh, for those that don't know who the local brick shop is, let's inform them. When you talk about your channel and your content, how would you describe it?
My channel, my content is usually news. The Lego news, I think, is what's sort of become the big thing on my channel for sure. A lot of people flock in during the week to find out what's new in the Lego universe out there. Otherwise, we also do a lot of Lego builds, we do a lot of Lego giveaways, and it's just a great community gathering hole for all the Lego lovers out there, both community builders and content creators to come in, say hi, just catch up on things, see what's going on.
That's excellent. So, uh, news. You also, you cover a lot of uh, just kind of the goings on in the Lego community as well, which is really fantastic. Uh, when you first decided to come to Twitch, could you kind of walk me through how that whole journey began?
So, my first interaction with Twitch, memorable interaction, let's say, was probably at the beginning of the pandemic, just before it started, and it all began with the game Sea of Thieves. I was playing Sea of Thieves a lot, and then there was Twitch drops for Sea of Thieves to get all kinds of extra content. Like, all right, I'll go watch some people to get these extra freebies, and I started to get hooked on watching people. It was really interesting, and it was kind of cool that there was a community built around this game. A passion that somebody had, and I'm like, well, I know Lego, and the one guy that I was watching, the main guy, behaving beardly, actually, is the big one that got me into it. He used to do giveaways all the time, but it was all content giveaways, like digital giveaways and things like that. I'm like, I could probably do that with Lego. I've because I sell Lego, I have an abundance of it all over the place. I'm like, yeah, why don't I give this a shot? You know what? Let's give back to this community. Let's see who's out there. And when I started in 2020, the end of 2020, basically, there wasn't too many Lego builders out there. There was a few, and I'd pop into chat, and I am possibly known as an epic lurker more than anything, and I sort of both then and now. And that's sort of what got me interested in streaming, because having those ideas and taking a project that I love, being able to give back to the community, and then sitting in front of a camera, a thing I never thought I would ever be able to do.
Yeah. So from becoming uh, a lurker, an epic lurker, to then making that leap to just doing it, do you think it, like, how much effort did it take to cut, like, was it an easy decision, or was this something that took a lot of time to get to?
So I mean, decisions are always easy. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
It's the action that follows that's always the hard part. The actual getting started.
Hmm.
Um, so at the time I had an okay gaming computer. I'm like, okay, there's a camera on there. I'll go pick up another. I was doing research, obviously, and the C922 came into play. So I'm like, okay, I'll pick up one of those. I asked for some extra lights for a birthday or something like that. I'm like, yeah, this will do. I can make this work. But again, it was sort of, is this good enough yet? Is this good enough? No, I think I should research this more. Literally delaying the inevitable, basically, trying to talk myself out of it, procrastinating, if you will. But then, hitting that button and having support of a really close friend and some family members coming in and watching, that helped to sort of keep it going because they tuned in and there was always positive responses. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do this, once or twice a week. And then it sort of grew.
That's
Just kept growing.
that's pretty awesome. And so, I mean, it's pretty obvious because the name Local Brick Shop. You have a brick shop that you sell Lego through. Uh,
Yes.
I'm kind of curious because I think I've never learned kind of the story that got you to that point, and I think maybe a lot of other people were kind of wondering, like, how's your like, what was your relationship with Lego? I guess I mean, a lot of us can guess, but how how did that kind of come to be, and what brought you to becoming a seller of Lego?
It's a big story. Well, I mean, it's not
Let's do it.
huge, but I mean, like, so Lego's always been in my life pretty much, like as far back as I can remember when I was a kid. I've always had some kind of fascination with those little building blocks,
Hmm.
and minifigures and all that. Um, so even throughout, like, I never gave it up. There's a lot of people have their dark ages where they just stop buying Lego. They're like, oh, I'm too old for this.
Right.
Pack it away, sell it. Their parents give it away. I never really had one of those. I never got rid of anything. And I always sort of, anytime I was in like Walmart or whatever, I would gravitate towards the toy aisle and go look and see what's new. Whether I was buying or not at the time, debatable, but I'd always go and, take a look. It didn't come until um, I want to say Storage Wars was really what started it. I was working at Value Village.
Yeah.
This would have been 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago this month. Working at Value Village. And I had a friend there, and he was sort of like the whole idea of Storage Wars, the idea of buying storage lockers, rummaging through, and then, finding treasures and selling them was always super appealing. Sounded
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm.
So I talked to a friend that I was working with, and he's like, "Yeah, that sounds amazing. We should totally do that, and then we'll get a booth at a flea market, and we'll sell all the stuff there." I'm like,
Hmm.
"That sounds like a great idea. Let's do this."
Yeah.
So my partner at the time actually contacted the local flea market, and we managed to set up a booth. And so I'm talking with the friend I was setting this up with. We're like, "Well, what do we put in the booth until we actually have content from storage lockers?" I'm like, well, I've got tons of excess Lego because I was still buying it at yard sales and flea markets and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing. He had all sorts of excess Transformers because he was a big Transformer collector. I'm like, okay, toys, this works great. Let's do this. Paid for the booth, got it all set up, let him know. It's like, okay, you can come on in whenever you want. I'm not interested anymore.
Oh no.
Well, wait, but
Wait a
I
minute.
thought we had a thing. I thought
Yeah.
this was good. I'm like, all right, fine. So I set it up with Lego, and my dad has always been into same sort of thing, yard selling and all that. He had excess board games and toys and things that would sort of fit along with Lego. So I brought some of that stuff in that he gave to me to sell as well. Filled a 10 by 10 foot booth, and within 3 months expanded that to a 10 by 20 foot booth. And it just sort of phased out everything that wasn't Lego over the years, and it became a big Lego booth. And I've been doing that for literally this month marks my 10
Wow.
year anniversary.
10
That's
years
been a while.
of that's impressive. And
Every
so
weekend for 10 years.
every weekend for 10 years. See, I didn't realize it's been that long. That's incredible. In
Yeah.
in in 10 years of doing this, what would you say is like, do you see yourself continuing doing this for another 10 years?
With streaming on top of actually selling the Lego, and it's also a great place to buy Lego as well, because after 10 years, people know I'm there.
Yeah.
It's been this fantastic combination of getting content for streaming, whether it be showing off older sets that may come in, being able to discuss, their origins and all kinds of their history. It just sort of paired beautifully with the idea of streaming, selling it and streaming it. The only thing I would say is I'd like to expand it from being at a flea market and being something a little more permanent,
Hmm.
something I can access sort of weekly, like daily, as opposed to just on the weekends, which is sort of
Hmm.
one of my problems at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, I would happily keep doing this for another 10 years, and if anything, expand it into other related products, basically. Like I said, board games would be amazing, card games,
Hmm.
stuff I used to sell as a kid. Like, again, my dad used to sell that as a kid too. Like when I was a kid, sorry, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons. I've always been in this sort of nerdy world of collectibles and games and toys. So
Yeah,
it's been great.
that's
Absolutely
awesome.
great.
I really hope that you get that chance, right, to do something that goes beyond just the weekends, or something like you said you could access uh, throughout, you know, more of the week,
Mhm.
as well as do all those other things. Because I think, uh, I think hobby shops or places like that are just a fantastic place to not just get those things, but also connect with other people and continue to
Absolutely.
kind of build that hobby up. Um, I hope you do get to do that within the
Thank
next
you. I
couple
appreciate
years.
that.
That's really, it's an awesome story, and the fact that you never had like a dark ages is actually really fascinating to me too, because that is uh, an uncommon story. Um,
It's
with
true. Very true.
Yeah, with that, kind of with that unique story. Is there any kind of moment or time where you know were ever just doubting your love for Lego, or has it always just been like this is always the thing?
That's a good question. Like that's a really tough question. Like as a kid, it's always been there. It's always been there as a kid. I'm trying to think like um when I lived with my dad, I had literally a shelf just outside my room filled with castles. Then we moved from there, and I still had castles out wherever we moved. I'm trying to think where we moved from that one place. There was still Lego. When I was in high school, I had a massive dining table in my room that was covered in castles. Yeah, I'm a castle fan. If you
Yeah.
haven't noticed, I'm a castle fan. um, then got into university, and even at university, I remember having friends over, like friends that I'd known for years, and we pulled out all my old Lego and we used to build castles. um, and it was almost at that point building it sort of D&D terrain sort of style at that point almost, which was another big part of my past, but probably why I like the castles. And anyway, from there went to, yeah, university. Walking to and from university, I used to have to go through a mall, and again I remember looking at the Lego in the, like, the toy stores in the
Oh
mall
yeah.
and buying it when it was on clearance. This is university. After university, my first job was at a tech support place, and I remember buying Exo 4 sets and setting them up on my desk and playing with them while I'm on the phones, because why not?
Yeah, that's awesome.
um, yeah, it's always been there in some way, shape, or form. I think I don't think it's ever really not been there. It's weird now that I'm thinking about it that hard because I don't think I have before.
Yeah, so it's just always been a part of you.
Yep, apparently. uh,
So what was it like to kind of begin to kind of merge the Twitch world with the Lego world? Because I mean, you described seeing that this is something I could do. Uh, Now that you've kind of been at it for a while now, is it
mhm.
was it something that continues to make a lot of sense, or how do you feel over the time since you've started creating Lego related content has kind of affected your outlook on Twitch?
The big thing that I know it's done for me is actually reinvigorated my love for the brick even more. So, opening up the shop, I've managed to sort of separate myself from, like, I'm selling this, like, this is how I'm actually making money. I'm trying not to keep everything, because I mean,
Right.
as many of you here I'm sure know, it's hard to, let go of things sometimes. But I'd managed to distance myself from that. Coming into Twitch, on the other hand, it's like, okay, I need something to build, because that was the beginning, sort of the idea in the beginning. Um, I need something to build. So I built the first thing I built was I think it was Hedwig. I think it was the original Hedwig set was one of the first ones that I built.
Hmm.
And I sort of I'm like, oh, I like this. Okay, well, I can't get rid of this. I got to keep this. This is my first build. There's reason to keep this now.
Right.
Um, and then I'm like, okay, what else do I have to build? And the second build was, I think, the bonsai tree. I'm like, well, this is really cool too. I got to keep this one as well. And it just sort of escalated like that. And I got more attached to the things I was building on stream
Hmm.
because now I'm actually building for fun as opposed to at the shop when I'm building things to sell or put in display cases. I'm building it to sell. So it's almost work, but it's fun work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't like that there's more pleasurable building and building for fun than there is just the work building now. And
Right.
that's why I have shelves full of stuff I never would have had if I hadn't started Twitch right now.
Yeah, yeah. So in fact, it's actually in a lot of ways kind of created more like almost sentimental value, right? For some of the
Yes,
sets that you've built.
definitely.
I really want to address something only because it's popped up in chat so much. Is the local for partner hashtag that has kind of surfaced, and this was actually already part of my notes, but the question is, you have an incredible support within your community, and you're hearing a lot of local for it's firing up again.
Yeah,
You have a lot of local for partner hashtags going on in chat. I see it in your streams as well, which is where it started. What are your thoughts on that in terms of there's this very excited push from your own community to see you as a
there
partner?
is. It's incredible. It's like it's really moving to see it. Honestly, I mean, I would absolutely love to hit partner. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, and I know this isn't exactly an easy goal to hit for. I mean, even affiliate's a hard goal to hit for a lot of people, but this community has really come together and helped so many people hit that affiliate goal in like 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah.
Your minimum number of streams, and then bam, you're an affiliate. That's all it takes, right? You wouldn't have that with a lot of video gaming communities and other things like that.
Hmm.
The fact that my community pushes the local for partners so hard,
Yeah.
it's moving. It's amazing, and I would absolutely love to do it. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
because I'd love to stream more than I already stream, even, right? So
Yeah.
plus emotes are more emote space would be great.
Yeah. More emotes are always great.
Be a lot of fun, but yeah, I'm all for it. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
With partner coming, or at least as a like a prospective thing for you to hit, um in terms of like the possibility of it, how close does it feel for you?
It's getting there. I see the numbers growing all the time. Like,
Hmm.
so the partner goals, I'm sure but not everyone here may know,
Yeah.
aren't easy to hit. They're not easy to hit, and the hardest one to hit is that 75 regular viewers over the course of, what is it, 3 weeks, a month, something
A
like
month.
that.
Yeah.
You've got to average your 75 viewers,
Hmm.
and I'm getting there, and I'm watching that number sort of rise and rise with every stream. It goes up. The big stream from last week helped push that up quite a bit.
Hmm.
So I just have to do that more. You know, 30-hour streams is the way to go, apparently. And there won't be their out time. It'll be fine.
That's right. That's right. You came off a really long stream. 30, was it 30 hours?
It was about 30 and a half, I think, something
Oh my
like that. Just
gosh.
because, like, how the ends tend to get pushed a little bit.
Hmm.
It definitely ended with a bang, and it was a great stream. It was a lot of fun. I was just disappointed I didn't finish my goal in one stream, but hey, chat has a way of doing that sometimes.
How was that by the time you finally finished 30 hours? How are you feeling?
So it's not my first like marathon stream. I've done a few 24s, but
Right.
30 was the longest one that I've done by far.
Right.
And I'd say it was the same with both of them. Is it's the wee hours of the morning, the hours you wouldn't normally be awake.
Hmm.
Those are the hard ones. So I found, up until I started at 9 a.m. up until, midnight, 1 o'clock, I was fine. Everything was fine. Stop, breaks, always having something to drink, stop for dinner, all that sort of thing. Stretch every now and then. But come 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it's like I'd normally be asleep, and my body's like, "You're supposed to be asleep. What are you doing? What do you
Right.
mean you're still building bricks?" And it's, you could almost start to feel the head nods, sort of things. Like, nope, just
Yeah.
got to keep reading chat out loud. And there was some wonderful people that were really, supporting with jokes and great stories and
Yeah.
content to really sort of get the adrenaline going again, which is important. But come 10 a.m. ish, when I'd normally be awake again,
Yeah.
9, 10 a.m., something like that, then it was like, okay, waves back. We're good to go. We're fine. And I could have actually, like, I felt like I could have kept going for another few hours if I needed to
Hmm.
after I was done. So yeah, it was interesting though.
What was there like a incredible moment that happened, or what's your most memorable thing that happened during that particular stream?
During that particular stream,
Yeah.
let's see, what did we do? We ate lots of, I think I ate lots of beans, did some Lego
Yeah.
walks. I mean, the whole thing, like, I'd say the whole thing was pretty incredible. Like, it sort of blurs together. Like,
Hmm.
no matter how you look at it, it's still 30 hours that your brain is trying to condense into, one big memory. But it's just always the support. It's the support that this community is always willing to give. That, it's something that's really hard to forget. So at the end, when we were doing the big giveaway, because we were giving away a Chamber of Secrets
Yeah.
set, like, there was so much positive support, and so much excitement for that giveaway. It's a big takeaway from the stream for sure. Just, how excited and thankful the people are when that sort of thing happens. Always super positive, always positive.
Definitely. This community has been incredibly supportive. Like
Absolutely.
anytime there's an event like that, they show up. I've found. And the 30-hour stream was no different. Um, when I said, what was your most memorable moment during that stream, of course, I think the best follow up to that is, what is the most memorable moment that you've had while streaming? Period. What is some of the top, or are some of the top memories that you've had since you've started?
Well, I mean, we'll start with the bad,
Sure.
because there's absolutely no way I'm ever going to forget eating the chip.
That's
That
right.
that that is, I mean, the biggest and the biggest thing I think that comes to mind off of that question. Of course, not on my particular channel, but
Yeah.
it
So
was the
for those that
stream.
don't know, what exactly happened?
Okay, so this all started when one of my lovely community members decided, hey, you know what I think would be fun? Watching you eat this. And so they sent me the one chip challenge, the Packy one chip challenge, which is, of course, for those that don't know, supposed to be the spiciest chip that's absolutely horrible, and don't do it. Nobody do it. Don't don't do it. I can handle spice okay, but don't do it.
Yeah.
So we sort of sat on it and sat on it and sat on it, and then I sort of dragged Heine Plus into it because I'm that kind of friend, I'm great. And so I went and bought them one, and we're like, okay, we'll do this together on over on Heine's stream. So last week, no, the week before, I guess at this point,
Right.
was last week. I don't know. I don't know where we are anymore. A week and a half ago.
I thought it was last week.
It would have been last Friday. It would have been, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's Saturday today. I'm okay, I swear. Yeah, we decided, okay, this is the night we're going to do it, and we're going to punish ourselves up to the point of actually even eating the chip, which is apparently not punishing enough. So yeah, we were trying to play some games, but chat made us eat a lot of nasty beans and spicy beans, and everyone really enjoyed that, except for Aina and I. And then
Yeah.
we ate the chip, and then we ate the chip.
Oh my god.
Don't eat the chip. Don't do it. Yeah, eating the chip was okay. Like the spice was fine. I could handle that. It was hot. Don't get me wrong. Like it was hot, but there was definitely some kind of the pamphlet actually said there was it was called the gut slash. I want to say that was one of the
Mm,
stages of pain. I guess you go through when you eat this thing. Yeah, yeah,
wow.
definitely got that gut slash for a good solid 20-30 minutes. It was rough. It was rough. But managed to not eat or drink anything for the hour to become apparently invincible, according to the pamphlet.
An
Yeah.
hour. It was a whole hour, right?
Yep, lasted over an hour, and by that point, again, it
Man.
wasn't spicy. I
Yeah.
was fine by that point. My mouth was just normal, but we're like, "Ah, let's celebrate. We'll have some ice cream. Everything's good now." Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's
Don't.
about when I tuned in, actually.
That
I think I
that's when I almost died.
oh
So
yeah. No, I think I tuned in about 50 minutes after the chip or something like that. And like it didn't quite hit that hour mark, and you and Hyena were not looking great. So you've heard it from local. Like local is saying like don't do it. And it's not
not
so
worth
much
it.
the heat, it's everything after the heat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The heat, like I said, it hurts. It's hot. Messes with your head a bit too, but it's the gut part. Don't do it. Save yourself the pain. You can watch it. Go watch Hyena's VODs. I'm sure it's still there at the moment, at least. Not worth it. Just don't do it.
So that's one of the worst memories. What's one of your best memories while streaming uh here on Twitch?
I guess it's sort of a collective. It just comes down to the community again, and the fact that
Mhm.
I've so in the beginning, of course, before you're affiliate, there's no bits, there's no subs, there's nothing like that. When I started, I didn't really start with there wasn't as much of a community as there is now. Sort of had to, I dragged people from the shop into it and close friends and things like that. But even the small community that I had was still very generous, and they wanted to donate. So I had to decide, okay, what am I going to do with this?
Mhm.
And I decided, okay, well, why don't I put a goal up for a set that I would realistically never buy for myself,
Right.
which ended up being the piano. And I'm like, okay, if we hit this goal, which I wasn't expecting to hit anytime soon, then we'll build a piano, we'll do some big giveaways, and we'll have a big stream out of it and have some fun. So within a couple of months, just watching that bar go up, it's again just sort of incredible at the sort of again kindness, the generosity, the amazingness this community has always been, always supported, and eventually, yes, I ended up with that that piano right there, and sure enough, built it on stream, and we had an amazing time. And the people that you meet through these streams as the community grows has been absolutely incredible, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you've met and interviewed half of not even half of barely a tenth of the wonderful streamers out there, let alone all the viewers and everything that are out there as well. So
Yeah.
it really comes down to not moments necessarily, but sort of overall achievements, like
Mhm.
achieving the piano and the other few other builds that we've achieved here as well.
That's awesome. So you've been at this for a while. You've had some highs, you've had some lows, particularly the chip. Uh, what do you find the most challenging thing about being a content creator?
um Challenging thing for me, it's not a challenge for everybody, but for me, it's getting out there into all the other streams and actually like not being just a lurker. I'm just good at lurking, and like I will listen to what people are doing. I check in on them, so when they pop into my stream, I can say, "Hey, how's it going? How's this coming along?" Because I was lurking, I have an idea as to what was going on for sure. But I have to get more interactive, and I have to sort of reach out to, especially more than just like the Lego community. I've always been a really really shy person
Right.
by nature. So again, the idea of coming in front of a camera like this, if you'd asked me like back in high school, university, like I remember in university standing in front of a class, doing a presentation, and shaking like a leaf. Like I was terrified. It was horrible. But now I'm sitting in front of a camera with, you know, 50, 60 viewers at any given time, and it's you know, that's twice the classroom size. It's a
Yeah.
lot different. A
Yeah.
lot different. And so getting over that's been a big challenge for me personally, for
Hmm.
sure. Otherwise, for actually stream content, it's always just sort of coming up with new ideas. I'm
Right.
always trying to keep new, fresh ideas and not always just, you know, recycle the same thing over and over again. So
Yeah.
that's been big for me for sure.
I think that the keeping things fresh is definitely a huge one for a lot of people. If I mean, if you don't mind, I'm kind of curious about how do you think about that stuff, or how do you come up with the next thing that you decide to do for your channel, whether it's something as simple as redeems or just some other, event on your channel or with your community.
Hmm.
How do you arrive at those different ideas?
It's watching streams. It's not just Lego streams necessarily. It's watching all kinds of other communities as well, seeing what they do, and then putting my own spin on it.
Hmm.
My point system, again, watching Behaving Beardly way back when, you know, he had a wheel spin. I'm like, okay, I can do a wheel spin. Those are pretty common. Give out points and then use those points for the giveaways. So like that was a way to do the giveaways. I'm like, this is perfect. I can utilize that, make it my own sort of style. And again, instead of giving away digital codes, I give away Lego instead.
Hmm.
Um, some of the redeems and things that I come up with are just sometimes they're just a meme that I find funny at the time, or
Right.
um, or an audio source that I find and I really like. There's a few sites I will sit and listen to for hours, just clicking buttons, listening to tracks, just because I'm looking for something that just sparks inspiration. Um, I have one with potatoes that fly across the screen. It's simple. It's
Yeah.
dumb, but it was just because I heard this potato song. I'm like, I like that. I need to do something with it, so I did.
Right.
And it was literally making a video using pictures of potatoes. So I have to go out and teach myself how to do that too, because
Yeah.
I try not to. I guess this is another thing that I have a problem with is reaching out to people for help. I like
Right.
to be able to do everything myself, but I have to stop. I have to stop that. And, actually realize there are people that want to help. There's a lot of amazing people that are willing to help, that can help, and really learning these things is a good thing, but it's taking a lot of time I don't necessarily need to spend on everything. You
Right.
know, just gotta reach out and ask for that help sometimes.
There is definitely a lot of collective knowledge out there. I've noticed across the whole, the whole of Twitch, but also within the Lego community. And I think I'd love to echo that, in that it's definitely, I'm the same way, in that, I it's probably why I know so much stuff in addition to the time, but I'm the same way. And I
Gotta
think
know
that
it all, right? Like you gotta be able to.
I have a weird thing, and I don't know if this comes across. I'm sure it does, because I really try not to come across that way. But like personally, uh, it's not that I want to be the smartest person in the room, but I think like I'd like to have the answers, and so I understand. I understand what you mean there.
It's a helping thing, right? It's not
Yeah,
being the smartest. You wanna be there
yeah,
for people. You wanna be able to help them when they get like, I get that. I totally get that.
definitely. Um, it sounds like you get inspiration from a lot of different places, whether it be other streamers or memes that you see or songs that you hear. What, in terms of other people on Twitch, and you've kind of named some already, who really inspires you to make your content better while you're on Twitch,
To make
if
it
anyone?
better?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, everyone really, like, watching as many streams as I do, obviously, you watch people evolve. Like, I've been part of this Lego community. I mean, like, I started Lego Twitch streaming technically in December of 2020.
Right.
So I was there all through 2021, and I've watched people, I've watched people evolve, I've watched people grow, and as they add things, like I've reached out to people about how to add other things, and like to learn how to use StreamerBot, for example. That's a huge thing. And then when I learn how to use it, then I'll share that knowledge as well.
Mm-hmm.
So people like AZ Pinoy will use like all sorts of functions and features of StreamerBot or whatever in different ways that I didn't think of. So it's great to see that sort of thing and utilize that for my own means again. Watching, all kinds of other Zach streams, Fred streams, they're always growing, they're always evolving. And the big thing is, trying to keep up. It's not trying to
Mm-hmm.
mimic, it's trying to keep up, right? Trying to stay on top of things, stay on top of all the new programs that are coming out. And again, if one falters behind, or something comes out, again, StreamerBot's the big one that comes to mind right now, because it
Mm-hmm.
is a little complicated to use, but when you get your head wrapped around it, it's an incredibly powerful tool. So yeah, I'll help people with that, but I'll ask for help in other aspects of it. And I don't like to necessarily take people's ideas. I like to, work with people and merge ideas, like the Screaming Cowboy. I love the fact that that took off everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
like everywhere. And I'm happy to see that sort of to blow up everywhere as well. And again, it's us working together. I don't, as opposed to like taking inspiration from each other. And yeah, that Screaming Cowboy. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if that properly
Yeah.
answers the
No.
question, but
Yeah, that definitely does. With I mean, with all the memes and all the stuff that you've put into your stream, is there we're seeing it pop up in chat. Is
yep.
there one in particular that you will like, that has probably like maybe it's your favorite, or do you have one that is like you will never get rid of on your channel? Is there a sacred meme that you'll never touch?
A sacred meme. I mean, the Cowboy is definitely a huge thing for me. Absolutely huge. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love where it went. I love what came from it. Like AZ in the banana suit. That is just incredible to me. Like, will always be incredible to me.
Yeah,
That's sort of a big one for me for sure.
right.
But yeah, that's another one. The Wasp was another. I love these little crazy stories that blow up into something bigger.
Yeah.
So the Wasp, of course, I had wasps in my walls last summer. It was great. So they were flying around my room. And yeah, every now and then I had to, okay, hold on, guys, just going to go BRB. As I had to go and swat a wasp. It was great.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't recommend that to
No.
anybody either. But it became a thing. It became an emote, and it became an actual, build that Scotty had actually built for me. And I have on camera a lot of the time now. So that's a huge one for me. The Wasp,
Yeah.
absolutely not going anywhere. Yeah, the Screaming Cowboy, not going anywhere. Even far back as Scooby Frog Blaster. Wondering who knows the story of Scooby
I don't
Frog
know that
Blaster.
story, actually. Could you tell the story?
So it's a ridiculous emote that I have.
Yeah.
Literally, Scooby Doo with a frog on his head, holding like a Star Wars blaster.
I've seen it. I have no idea what it is.
No, and most people don't. And so when you use it in my chat, if you just present a single Scooby Frog Blaster emote, it will play a random sound effect. One of, I think I'm up to 55 or 60 different sound effects I've got attached to it, basically. The
Wow.
reason being that I want to say this would have been about the first or second month of hitting affiliate.
Uh-huh.
I was doing a Star Wars stream or something like that, and all of my sound commands were just words in chat, like exclamation mark something, and it was all done through Touch Portal.
Mm-hmm.
And something messed up, and I don't know what it was. And chat had managed to put in the command Scooby Frog Blaster, because each one of them were a different sound effect. So Frog was supposed to be croaking frogs, Blaster was supposed to be a blaster,
Mm-hmm.
so it was doing something Star Warsy, and Scooby Doo was supposed to be Scooby Doo sound or whatever. But when they put those 3 in, it played something completely different that I didn't have something linked to, and I'm like, "How is this happening? Why is it playing this sound? This shouldn't happen." They literally, they were trying to bork the stream, as chat sometimes does, as I'm
Right.
sure you've seen.
Yep.
Um, so, rather than get angry with it, you roll with it. And yeah, one of my long-term regulars actually had the piece of art made for me, and I turned it into a an emote. And the emote now has an ability to play a random sound effect because that's what it was doing on that stream, and that's something that'll probably stick around forever as well. And it's just a weird story.
That's actually incredible. Yeah, I had no clue what that what that was. And now that I know what it is, it actually makes way more sense to me. Have you ever had to explain one of your memes or some of the stuff going on in your channel to someone new to chat? Has it ever been one of those moments where like, I don't know what's going on, or how do you deal with that when perhaps someone random or a group of random people have shown up maybe from a raid? Like, do you ever stop and explain, or you just roll with it and you let them kind of experience it?
For the most part, it's just rolling with it. It's all you can do. There's so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
I don't usually get asked though, like, oh, what is this particular thing? Like the Scooby Frog Blaster. I haven't actually explained that story in months, I think, at this point.
Really.
Just some of the originals, like I said, this is back when I was probably averaging 5-10 viewers sort of thing. They were the
Yeah,
ones that broke it. So they sort of know where it came from.
yeah.
And it sort of rolled with it, and you just go with it sort of thing. So the stream is chaos. That's how I explain it to people coming in. Welcome to
Right.
chaos. We're doing this now.
This is our life. This is what's happening now.
Exactly. Just got to roll with it, right? Smile and roll with
Yeah.
it.
I love that there's all these in you know across all these different channels within the community. There's these just greater memes or in almost inside jokes that occur, and if you're not really plugged in, it becomes one of those things where you're like, I don't know what's happening. But I mean, gosh, like the cowboy thing, right? Like I think I totally missed the origin of the cowboy meme. Like it just, it suddenly happened, and then next thing you know, it proliferated across multiple channels, and so I had to stop and be like, "What's going on here? Can someone explain to me what's going?" Because like one day everyone was redeeming it in like across 3 different channels. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening, but that's also what like I think that's like amazing because nowhere else on Twitch I found across like a community is you will find this cross pollination
Mhm.
of jokes, memes, or even literally you'll see like Fred's face pop up in so
Yep.
many different alerts, and that's something that's really really special about the community. um since you started streaming in the community, uh what are your thoughts in terms of it, like how it's evolved and where it's going? What do you think, I guess, about how it's changed so far?
Well, it's grown. I mean, that's sort of the obvious, the
Yeah.
obvious part for sure. It's grown significantly. Um, but I feel like the positivity of the community has helped bring more and more people onto Twitch and bring more people, out of worrying about, like, I've met people that were sort of worried about Lego, for example, because they're adults and they haven't really realized, well, that, Lego's totally fine to play with adults too, and this community, there's plenty. I mean, I dare I say it, all of us are adult Lego builders at this point.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and it's great to see that everyone encourages that. And I think it's getting a lot of people, more comfortable with that idea. Reach out, go find a local, a lug or whatever that's near you. You can join in. Um, but everyone stays so positive that I feel like this community will only continue to grow. It'll only
Hmm.
continue to get better.
Hmm.
Whereas gaming communities, I don't see that same, uh, as you said, cross pollination for sure. There's little bits here and there. Like I said, I used to be heavy into Sea of Thieves, so I watched a bunch of different Sea of Thieves streamers,
Right.
and they knew each other, but you didn't see one person's face in another's, unless they were doing a co-stream or something. You didn't see, that kind of thing pop up a lot of the time.
Hmm.
You come into the Lego community, any one of them, and you mention anyone else's names, like, oh, I found you from this person. Oh, well, have you seen this person, this person, this person, this
Yeah.
person? It's shout out kingdom all the time, which is a
Yeah.
great thing.
It is.
So when that new person does come in, it's like, well, look, you've got all these options, and like I said, I've always hoped that eventually we'll get to that point where there's like 24-hour Lego streaming somewhere. If it's
Yeah.
you'll always be able to find someone doing it, so you'll always be able to connect with someone over Lego if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do.
Hmm.
And we're getting there. It's getting closer to that.
I feel like we're on the verge of it. Honestly, I feel like it's
Just about.
it's so incredibly close because I think most times if I really wanted to find someone in the brick building community on Twitch Live, it's I would say 9 times out of 10 I can find something or someone.
Pretty much, yeah.
With the with where it's going, do you anticipate that it will continue to grow at the rate that it's going, or do you think that it will like do you think it'll ever slow down anytime soon?
The community as a whole, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eventually it will. Like, eventually, every Lego builder that has an interest in streaming as well will be here, and it'll work for some. It may not work for others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, People have to find what they're comfortable with, and I don't know when that's going to be necessarily, but I don't think there will ever be any, discouraging of someone from trying it. If you have that interest, you do it. Come on in, give it a shot. Come say hi on cam, and if you like it, then keep doing it, keep pushing it, don't stop, don't let a slow start necessarily hold you back. Just keep trying, and the best thing to do is get out into the community and chat.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as those everyone is jumping into everyone else's channels and chatting and making themselves known, I think it has a good chance to just keep growing and growing and growing, getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I anticipate it to kind of continue growing at this rate for a while, honestly. And then, I mean, like everything, it may kind of slow down a little bit, but I think,
Hmm.
especially in the last, I want to say 3 to 5 months, I keep finding new streamers in the category or in the tag rather. Uh,
Hmm.
and
If only we had a category.
if only, maybe one day we will.
Somebody
Maybe
listening out there.
maybe one day we will. You kind of touched on this a little bit, uh, in terms of what you could do with your channel as you're getting started. But do you have any thoughts or advice for someone who's starting to get into streaming, or what kind of knowledge and wisdom you would impart to someone who wants to get into it? Because I know you've actually mentored quite a few of the newer streamers that are now in the space.
Maybe a few. I might have pushed them into the idea. Yes, it's possible.
Yeah.
The big thing is, if you're interested, and only if you're interested, do it. Absolutely, absolutely do it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't worry about it as much. But of course, don't stress out over it.
Hmm.
I think the big thing is to get started, figure out something you're passionate about. That's your content. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to know how to talk about it. You're not going to know how to, hold a conversation about it. Lego, I can talk about all day long because it's what I've done for, like I said, 10 years, for every weekend for 10 years. So I can keep going. And that's a big thing for me.
Right.
Some people it could be Lego. Some people it could be, a video game out there for sure. It's just their passion, like Minecraft and building things. As long as you can hold that conversation, I feel like that is a really important part that some people may not, you may not realize right away. You got to talk. You got to keep going on that.
Right.
Um, but definitely just get started. Don't worry about, "Oh, I got to get this top end camera. I got to get this top end computer." That'll come in time. It'll all come in time. And don't look at your viewer count. Never look and worry about, viewer counts and things like that.
Yeah.
Unless that's a specific goal, partner stuff,
Sure. Sure.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're talking to one person, it doesn't matter if you're talking to 50 people. Like,
Hmm.
it's the same thing. Just express your passion. Because even if it's only one person you're talking to at the time, there's nothing saying someone's not going to find you somewhere else, or be directed to you and go back and watch the VODs, and they'll want to know what's going on. They'll want to see,
Right.
just pretend you're talking to the VOD at that point if you have to. It's important. But
Yeah.
yeah, passion and conversation, I think are big keys for getting started, for sure.
That's great advice. If you were to, you know, if we were to shift gears a little bit, uh, and you were to give this advice to local starting a couple of years ago, what would you have told yourself with the
Do
knowledge
it
that
starter. Do it sooner. Sorry, do it sooner. Oh my god.
do it sooner?
Do it so much sooner. Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm a procrastinator by nature. I hum and
Mm,
haw and hum and haw. I'm like, okay, well, this looks okay, but I could do this. I could do this. Okay, I'm gonna try getting started next week. Next week
right.
comes around. Next week we'll try it. Next week comes around. Okay, we'll do it
Yeah.
next week. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? I could do with some more lights. Okay, I'll order those. Oh, they're not coming in until this. It's like,
Right.
if I'd actually sort of followed along with my thoughts then, and started at the beginning of, say, 2020 instead of the end of 2020,
Hmm.
um I feel like I could be a little bit more, a little bit further than where I am right now, like more advanced, and have a better idea as to, again, more streaming ideas, more things like that. I would have done more research by that point. Not that I didn't do a ton of research before as well, watching YouTube, watching other streamers. But yeah, do it starter, and don't worry about it, because I worry about everything as well.
Right.
Just one of those people that, like, yeah, okay, I could do this, but what if this all happens?
Or I need these things to do it, right? Or
Yeah,
you wait for
yeah,
the
yeah.
perfect moment, right?
Perfect moment's never going to be there. Just do with it
Yes.
with what you got, and then you just go.
Amen.
It's hard, but go. Just do it.
It's true.
Go.
I agree.
You
I
got one
agree with
life, right?
I agree with that advice 100%. Jump in. Just do it.
Yep.
Push that button.
But tell people about it. I mean, don't just do it, but tell
Yeah.
people about
Tell
it. Don't
people
get me
about
wrong.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been great. It's been so much fun so far.
Yeah. Has there been anything that has made you not want to push that start streaming button?
No, no, it's never been a worry for me. Um, I feel like I've always managed to sit down, usually on time. My
Hmm.
timing is off sometimes, but
Sure.
but like, the only thing that has been sort of a frustration enough to, maybe call it early or something, is if I'm getting, like, internet issues where I just, like, it starts to lag out, and it just doesn't become like a watchable stream anymore, because the power went out. I think at one point, I think my power went out for a little bit. I'm like, okay, is it coming back on? And or with my
Hmm.
laptop, it would overheat, and then it would just bog down to not being able to stream properly. And that it gets frustrating, because at this point I'm not providing even decent content at that point. I feel I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try something else. And that's been frustrating, but never enough to not want to do it anymore. Like,
Mm.
if anything, I just want to stream more. Just got
Yeah.
to make the time for it. That's the hard part.
That's that's a great thought. If if time was not a factor, or rather you had all the time in the world, how much time would you spend streaming?
um I So I would definitely ideally like to stream closer to sort of like a 6 to 8 hours per day, sort of stream.
Hmm.
But with doing the news the way I do, it's usually I'll actually spend about 2 hours in the morning before I get on stream, researching to see what's new, trying to find out useful information that you may want to actually hear about, as opposed to just some of the fluff that goes into some of the sites,
Hmm.
that I do usually sort of use, and make sure that I have an idea as to what I'm about to talk about. I try not to go in completely blind, but with a mixture of having to do that, having to take care of the pets, and things like that, it sort of limits my timing to about 4 or 5 hours most days.
Hmm.
And then because I work on the weekends, I try to take at least one day off. So like my Wednesday is usually my day off, and then Wednesday night I stream.
Hmm.
So I'm still doing something Wednesday, and then Friday's supposed to be my setup day at the market, but now I stream over on Hyena's channel. So
Yeah.
I, I'm streaming or working pretty much every day.
Hmm.
Stream from the shop. I know. I know. People want me to stream from the shop, which I have done. I've done it a couple of times, but the internet is really poor there, so that's the problem with that one. So
Yeah. So, Goddess had a great question, and I'm going to pose it to you. Do you want to full time stream, like
yeah,
full time content creation, and just not, selling?
I don't think I would lose the shop. The shop, as I sort of touched on before, it provides a lot of content for me. Like I was saying before, conversation is sort of key with any stream, and it's not necessarily just the items that come in from the shop.
Hmm.
It's the people, it's the experiences that I get at the shop. If it's somebody comes in and just even mentions they have this set, that set, it may be something I've never heard of, and it's like, hey, this is actually really cool. Like today, for example, I had a guy come in and he brought me a bunch of sets that he was looking to sell, but then he touched on the idea that he could actually get me, and some of you may know what this is, a Forma fish. So the Forma fish was a Lego set, but it was a crowdfunded set, and it was more of a sort of, not a skeleton, but basically a technic bones of a fish, and then you actually had like plastic cutouts that made it into a koi. They're
Oh, I
very
see.
rare and they're very weird, but it's because of this conversation I had at the shop that it's like, okay, well, I can bring that up on stream later and actually, talk about it, as I guess I've just done now. Um, Sorry, should have saved that for Monday, I guess, um, but those sort of things like add to the, like, really, really add to the content of the stream. So I love having the mix of the two.
Hmm.
And that's one thing I worry about if I did ever actually open like a full-time shop. Streaming from the store while dealing with customers and trying to entertain chat as much would be a very complicated issue, I feel. But I don't know, might be able to figure out a way to make it work.
Hmm.
Would love to, though. Would love to, absolutely.
That's excellent. I'm sure everyone would love to see it too. Honestly, I think everyone would be so down to see more local streaming. Local for full time might be another hashtag. We'll see. Who knows?
So local, more hours. Okay, more hours streaming. Got it.
more more streaming.
All right, all right. I'll wake up earlier.
There you
Go to
go. I
bed
mean,
later.
who needs sleep?
Exactly. Right. Right. Oh man.
Where do you see your content in the next year?
So again, stream, I'm always hoping will get bigger and better.
Hmm.
Bigger giveaways. Biggest thing I've always wanted to do with giveaways is be able to, with my weekly build. So generally Wednesday nights, of course, are my build nights. I'd always love to be able to give away a copy of whatever I'm building. So regardless of size, regardless of scale, anything like that. I've shifted to that a little bit with the last Wednesdays of the month being a copy of something that I'm building being given away. So we're
Hmm.
getting there. So bigger giveaways for sure. I'd love to stream more hours. A big thing that I'm having a lot of push for is starting to get onto YouTube, pushing onto YouTube and things like that.
Yeah.
With the even if it's just a news breakdown for a couple days a week or something like that.
Hmm.
I feel like at least it's a nice sort of chunk of what's going on out there that may be more easily digestible than going through 10 different websites and okay, there's this and there's this. Okay, I don't care about this. So
Hmm.
even if I could get something up there for now and then maybe push further from there, I don't know what else I'd throw up there, but
Yeah.
um, possibly more community get-togethers, which I'm aiming to try to do later this month, and just keep growing this community. That's the big thing. Not just my content, but just the community as a whole has been
Sure.
always been a priority, I feel, for me for sure. So yeah, I should probably post more on Instagram too. I'm really bad at socials. Like really, that
I have,
I guess that would be a thing.
I get it. I have that same issue, right? Where would love to like just produce more, but then it's that balance, right? Of sometimes when you only have so much time to put towards the content, that means if you're spending X amount of hours streaming a week, you have to cut it down a little
Hmm.
bit so you can make time for whatever else it is you're doing,
It's
right?
true. It's true. Yeah, trying to keep any kind of life in amongst everything.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of time for it. Not a lot of time for sure. Let alone more content and more creating and more everything else. So
yeah.
again, forget the sleep part, I guess, and not to mention the socializing. The socializing is another thing that takes up a lot of time too. Just going into
Yeah,
people's streams and saying hi, and it's important. That's very important. So
yeah, yeah. I don't think I really share this that often, but like, I feel like that's super important, at least on the level of just being aware of what's going on in the community, which is why I lurk in a lot of streams, but then like the next step is socializing a bit more or even just saying hello, right?
yeah,
So
exactly,
for,
exactly.
for me, what I end up doing is I always make a point, like because I kind of know the windows of time I'm at my computer and I might have time to like stop into a stream or two. My goal is always to, stop into someone's stream for at least 30 minutes, right? And say hello. And if it means that I have to just like say hi because I'm also working or I'm doing something, but I can leave them up and listen for the most of that 30 minutes, I'll do and you probably see me do it. Yo, local, what's going on? How's it going? And then I'll crack a joke. I'm like, yeah, ha ha ha. And then I'll like go to lurk.
For sure, for
But then
sure. You got to do that.
I get to hear what's going on. I get to say hi and connect with everyone. And then like maybe I have another 30-minute window later that day and I'll do the same thing in like Panfred Nudo's stream, right? And so uh I hear you though. It's really difficult.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, even just saying hi, like I I always want to, but it's sort
Totally.
of sucking you into,
Yep.
okay, now I have to stay here at least for 5-10 minutes or
It's
whatever.
a slight
But it's like
social obligation. Yep.
exactly, not a bad one by
No,
any
not a
means,
bad
but
one at all. No.
it just means that like if I'm there, it's hard to go into another stream and say hi over there. I know some people can do it. I don't know how they do it, but it's
Yeah.
like you see
It's
them in
tough.
five chats all at the same time. Like, how are you doing this? But
Yeah, that's
it's
super
not me.
tough. I get
I
it.
can't do it. So lurking, I can listen, but listen and then try to break out things that are directed at me at the same time. That's trickier. That's a
Yeah.
lot trickier.
What's something that you've always wanted to share or tell your community that you haven't had an opportunity to?
My secrets? Are you saying do I have secrets?
No. Maybe it's just
I,
something that's never come up or you had the chance to say.
um I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty open generally on stream. Like when I have something to say, I'll say it. Like there's not really anything that I ever feel like I have to hide. The biggest thing that I can never again, it always revolves back to chat being awesome, this
Yeah.
community being awesome, and I just can never thank them enough for everything they do because um, maybe just like that. I know there's some people out there that kind of feel bad that they may not be able to chat as much or be there as much or sub as much or
Right.
whatever, and that's a big thing is don't feel bad. Like being here when you can be here is always amazing. And, every little bit, every little word, emote, anything. Again, if you want to come in, say hi, just throw a hi emote and then leave and not listen to a thing I say, hey, I don't care. It's all good. Thanks for being there. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Like you guys really make the stream. You guys make this community. It's all about chat all the time. Like without you, I'm talking to a wall.
Well said.
But yeah, yeah. Can't thank them enough.
I totally feel the same way. Um, is there anything that you had expected me to ask you that I didn't get to, or that you were you had a response ready for, and
You
we
think
didn't.
the response ready for
And we
anything?
didn't, and then we didn't. I don't know.
No, I came here unexpecting, just
Yeah,
not, free mind, open mind, what, do your worst. Let's go and see where this
right.
takes us. I'm down for whatever, whatever happens. Absolutely. Sneaky interviewer question.
I
Yes.
know it's a good question. I feel like it's a good one.
No, like I said, I feel like I've was prepared to sort of go over my background, which I feel like we've done pretty well, and
Yeah,
touched on some of the backgrounds of some of the emotes, which I forgot about. So it was kind of nice to to go
yeah,
back on those ones. Those were interesting. So
yeah.
local down for whatever. Yeah, pretty much.
If you could have any like if you could have more emote slots, what would be the next couple emotes you would add?
Next couple emotes I'd add. Oh, good question.
Yeah.
See, I have the exceptional pleasure of having an emote maker in my house. So
Yeah.
they're super keen on making some notes. It's usually whatever sort of comes to our mind, and there's always good ideas. And I know I need one for the Lego nudes. That's a big one that people are
Yep.
screaming for. So
Yep.
that's definitely up there. And if I had the slot open, we'd probably have something for that. I feel. Um, yeah, I don't know what else yet, but I do know that when I have the slot, that's when I usually do it. I don't have the slot, I don't think about it, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because there's so many other things to worry about.
Right. Which leads me to my next question. Knowing that, there's all these things you want to do with your channel and only a limited amount of time, what would be the next what would be the next big thing you would like to do for your community if time
For my
wasn't
community.
yeah, your community and your channel if time wasn't an issue.
Well, next big thing, I feel like like when I want to do something, I'll try to find a way to make it work.
Mm,
So the next thing I want to do is what I am doing, and that will be on the 24th, and doing a get together with all the any local streamers basically, and probably some of the chat members, like the actual members of the community as well, and actually stream from a wonderful local brewery, and we're just
nice.
stream together, actually be together in the same room, and those that can't be there physically will still be able to be there in chat.
Mm,
And of course, giveaways and all that thing. Oh, always got to do giveaways. That's the biggest thing for me, is like chat is the one that sort of supports us as streamers. So
yeah.
I always feel like the least I can do is give back in Lego form. It's
Right.
something I have, it's something I can give, it's something I'll do. Um so that's something we'll definitely be doing. But yeah, the 24th, I'm definitely doing a get together, and I'll be sort of posting more about that probably on my Discord to start with, at least, and chatting about it for the next few weeks as well. And everyone that wants to come, there will be time to come. And yeah,
There we
that's
go.
that's the big thing. That's going to
That's
be a big thing for
exciting.
sure.
So stay tuned
Should be fun.
for a local meetup with local. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yes. Local meetup with local. I like it. It's got a ring to it.
I'm sometimes good at naming things. Sometimes that's a good one.
Amazing. Amazing.
So now that you've kind of been in the hot seat for a while, and you've kind of had a good idea of who's been on this show, who would you like to see go through this next?
So I watched your previous VODs and things like that, and I knew this question was coming. I had an idea.
It's
So
true.
I've literally thought about this for hours to try to figure out,
Amazing. Uh-huh.
and I've actually come up with a few people. Like there was no way to just narrow it down to one
Of
person. It was
course.
impossible. A couple of people I think that really deserve it, and I think would have some amazing stories to tell, would be Prophet DNA
Hmm.
and Rex is a Dinosaur. Those two are both incredible streamers that I absolutely like. I'm usually laughing my butt off when I'm watching either of them,
Hmm.
and their shenanigans, especially when Prophet's with Miss Prophet. It's always an absolutely amazing time, and yeah, I think the stories there would be worth hearing.
Mm.
And the other two sort of people that I think also really deserve to for us to learn more about would be either I'm Bored Toys, a fellow Canadian that I never get into his stream as much as I'd like to. So I'd love to
Mm,
hear more from someone that's literally 5 hours away from me. So
yeah.
not that far. Or Terrific As Terrific, which is, I absolutely adore her content, and a variety streamer, a really positive, fun variety streamer. A lot of us are Lego builders, obviously, but I feel like she focuses more on the variety streaming. So I think it would be a lot of fun to see her reaction to all your wonderful questions. Yeah, that would be a sort of a few ideas that I'd throw your way.
Those are some great suggestions. And, it's very possible I've had conversations with some of those people already. So,
Good. I'm
yeah.
glad to hear it.
Where can
uh,
people find you, your content, and your community?
well, the biggest one, of course, twitch.tv/TheLocalBrickShop.
Of course.
Yeah, come find me over there. Next time I'll be on will be Monday. Yes, Monday. Yeah, Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Hmm.
Um, Otherwise, of course, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All the local brickshop is the handle on all of them, basically.
Hmm.
Soon to be YouTube, but we're not there yet, so we're working on that one.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I think is the Discord. Discord's a really easy way to reach out. So if you head on over to my Twitch, then the links are all right there. You can
Hmm.
follow all the links from there. But yeah, everyone feel free, reach out, say hi. If you're looking for parts and pieces, I'm always happy to help too, when and where I can. So,
Mm.
or just info. There's a whole thing in my Discord for where's this from? What is this piece? How do I get this? So, love to answer the questions when and where I can, for sure, for sure.
Super useful. I've been in there. It's great.
It's a crazy place. It's all crazy.
Do you have any parting words for those that are here live and or those that are listening to this as a podcast or a VOD?
um, I mean, aside from, again, thank you all for actually watching this, wanting to learn more about me. Still seems like a weird thought to me, but that's okay. It's great to know that this community has been here, and they always want more information, they always want to have more fun and everything, and it's been great. But honestly, just stay positive, keep this positive vibe going. We treat all of our neighbors with this amazing respect, and you can see what that's done for the community. Keep that up. Like, don't lose that. Don't lose that. What is it? Be excellent to each other. Party
Yes,
on, dudes.
be excellent to each other.
Yeah, Bill and Ted couldn't say it any better. So I would definitely that would definitely be it. Positive support everywhere, anywhere, and just keep it that way. Just keep it that way. It's a great place to be. This is a great place to be.